I am continuing my reading. What I'm doing in this series is to read through the entire standard works of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. This consists of the Bible, the Book of Mormon, the Doctrine and Covenants, and the Pearl of Great Price. I am reading in a chronological order of events, not according to publication or volume, so I will be skipping around a bit as I move along. We're going to now read the Joseph Smith translation for the 26th chapter of the Book of Jeremiah. What the Joseph Smith translation is, this is an inspired translation or correction of the Bible done by Joseph Smith to restore those passages that had been lost over the years. There are a number of translations here, and so we're going to make this as a separate video. I'm not going to reread the entire chapter because it's a substantial chapter, and even though there are a number of Joseph Smith translations, it doesn't cover even a quarter of the chapter, so let us look at it. In verse 3, in the King James, "And turn every man from his evil way, that I may repent me of the evil." Joseph Smith corrects this. "And turn every man from his evil way, and repent. I will turn away the evil." So it's not God repenting. It's very important to remember that God does not repent. Then we have in verse 5 and 6, let us read the King James, says here, "To hearken to the words of my servants the prophets, whom I sent unto you, both rising up early and sending them, but ye have not hearkened. Then will I make this house like Shiloh, and will make this city a curse to all the nations of the earth." Joseph Smith's translation renders this, "To hearken to the words of my servants the prophets, whom I sent unto you, commanding them to rise up early, and sending them. Then will I make this house like Shiloh, and will make this city a curse to all the nations of the earth, for ye have not hearkened unto my servants the prophets." Makes a little more sense there, but again, not a major change in meaning. In verse 13, "And the Lord will repent him of the evil that he hath pronounced." But Joseph Smith translation says, "And repent, and the Lord will turn away the evil." So again, man repents, not God. In verse 18, where we're talking about Micah near the end there, "And Jerusalem shall become heaps, and the mountain of the house as the high places of a forest." But this is changed here, "And the mountain of the house of the Lord as the high places of a forest." The house of the Lord, the mountain of the house of the Lord is the temple, and the high places of the forest are idol-worshipping altars. That's what it's saying here. It's saying the mountain of the Lord's house is being turned into a place for idol worship. Verse 19, the last half there says, "And the Lord repented him of the evil which he had pronounced against them. Thus might we procure great evil against our souls." The Joseph Smith translation renders this, "And repented, and the Lord turned away the evil which he had pronounced against them. Thus, by putting Jeremiah to death, we might procure great evil against our souls." So clarifying this, again, God doesn't repent, it was men, but they're saying if we kill Jeremiah, we're going to procure the evil. We're not wise like Hezekiah was. And finally, in verse 20, King James says, "And there was also a man that prophesied in the name of the Lord, Urijah, the son of Shemaiah of Kirjath-jearim, who prophesied against this city and against this land according to all the words of Jeremiah." Joseph Smith's translation, "But there was a man among the priests rose up and said, That Urijah, the son of Shemaiah of Kirjath-jearim, prophesied in the name of the Lord, who also prophesied against this city and against this land according to all the words of Jeremiah." So that tells us that in this debate, they were having this trial of Jeremiah, and the elders told us, wait a minute. In the days of Hezekiah, Micah was prophesying, and Hezekiah repented, the people repented, and they averted the destruction that Micah had prophesied. And then another man stands up and says, yeah, and remember that the king has already hunted down another prophet. Remember Urijah, he was prophesying just like Jeremiah is, and the king hunted him down and killed him. Do we really want to be doing this? So it does make the narrative flow better. Doesn't really change the meaning exactly, but it makes the narrative flow better, and I like that. So that will conclude the Joseph Smith translation here. It's somewhat interesting, mainly just letting us know it's not God that repents. God doesn't repent. Man repents. And then God turns away his wrath. Because remember, God's wrath is never certain. It is always predicated on our disobedience. And if we turn from our disobedience, then he will turn from his wrath. So it's not him repenting, it's him being just and merciful. There are a few other, they're not major changes in meaning, but they're nice clarifications. Makes the makes the meaning more clear. So, but we're going to leave that here, and I am going to be picking up with Habakkuk. So, or as some people pronounce him, Habakkuk. I prefer Habakkuk, but we will see you there.